carbon dioxide and ventilation. So they're also same, but here alveoli need to excrete the carbon dioxide out from the body. So the curve is now bending this side. You can see there it is moving upward because oxygen need to be absorbed, but the carbon dioxide need to be excreted. So the curve is bending here. So you can see even here, uh, here we have some specific rules. Let us see here. See, carbon dioxide concentration and partial pressure in alveoli. Alveolar carbon dioxide increases, that is, it's directly proportional to the rate of carbon dioxide excretion. So you can see here this 800 milliliter of carbon dioxide. We're talking about this. As the alveolar carbon dioxide, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is increasing its excretion, it's directly proportional to the rate of carbon dioxide excretion, and that is at the 800 milliliters of carbon dioxide. Whereas coming to this, alveolar carbon dioxide decreases, it is inversely proportional to alveolar ventilation. Means if alveolar ventilation is keep on increasing, then the alveolar carbon dioxide is decreasing. This graph shows that thing. You can see here the alveolar ventilation is increasing, but this graph is decreasing. Alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide is decreasing. Means this both are inversely proportional in this case. So next let us see that expired air is equal to dead space air plus alveolar air. So actually during exhalation the air contains both dead space air and also alveolar air. So here in this graph we can see air expelled on x-axis, on y-axis the pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So you can see the first expelled air is the dead space air, and after that the alveolar air is expelled out mainly. In that also alveolar air and dead space both are mixed, that will expel out, and last alveolar air expels. So whenever you want to, especially during forced expiration, whenever you want to collect the pure alveolar air, we need to wait till the end, because at the beginning first purely dead space air will leave out from the body, later the alveolar and the dead space air both mixed will leave out, and finally the alveolar air will come out from the body. So next we have the final one, that is hypoventilation and hyperventilation. Before that we also have the formulas. See, for PCO2, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, formula is carbon dioxide production divided by alveolar ventilation, and for oxygen it's oxygen consumption by alveolar ventilation. So here you can see the hypoventilation definition. When there is increase in ratio of this carbon dioxide production to the alveolar ventilation, it can't keep the pace, that is the carbon dioxide production can't keep the pace with the carbon dioxide production. So the normal range of partial pressure of carbon dioxide is like between 37 and 43 millimeters of mercury. So whenever this partial pressure of carbon dioxide increases in hypoventilation beyond 45, and also sometimes like 50 to 70 millimeters of mercury, so you can understand here actually the situation in hypoventilation is carbon dioxide production is increasing a lot, but as the carbon dioxide production is increasing, this alveolar ventilation is not able to keep the pace with it. So because of this reason it is leading to hypoventilation. Next let us see hyperventilation. Here the ratio of carbon dioxide production to alveolar ventilation is decreasing, too high for carbon dioxide production. So here the carbon dioxide partial pressure of carbon dioxide is below 37 to 43, that is it's below the normal range, so it may lead to dyspnea, that is difficult of breathing is common in this case in hyperventilation. So we need to see also other definitions, what is technepia, what is hyperpnea. Actually in technea there is increase in respiratory rate, whereas in hyperpnea it is increase in minute ventilation. So this is very important. In hyperpnea only the minute ventilation, means the ventilation per minute is increased, but in the case of technepia the respiratory rate is only increased. So in both conditions, no change in arterial partial pressure of carbon dioxide. We need to remember either in hypoventilation or either in hyperventilation. In both these conditions, always the arterial partial pressure of carbon dioxide remains same. So these are all some of the important points in the overview of ventilation chapter 56 from Guyton. Finally, we have this one box, that is what are the causes of hypo and hyperventilation. So as we said, in hyperventilation the carbon dioxide production is increasing, but this alveolar ventilation is not able to keep the pace with it. So what are the causes here? Chronic obstructive lung disease, sleep apnea syndromes, tracheal or laryngeal stenosis, bulbar poliomyelitis, primary alveolar hypoventilation syndrome, metabolic alkalosis, prolonged hypoxia, carotid body trauma dysfunction, and kyphoscoliosis. Actually kyphoscoliosis, the spine is only somewhat bent, so because of this also ventilation may be suffered there. And in hyperventilation the reason is that here the carbon dioxide production is normal, but the Alveolar ventilation is very high. So let us see here, like in hyperventilation, the reasons are acidosis, pulmonary disorder like pneumonia, bronchial asthma, congestive cardiac failure, CNS disorders like infarction, infectious tumors, stress of hypoxemia due to higher altitude or lung disease, hyperthyroidism, other causes like sepsis, fever, pregnancy. So we can see here hyperventilation. The main causes decrease the ratio of carbon dioxide production to alveolar ventilation. It is too high for carbon dioxide production. So that is the main reason. So this is all about our ventilation chapter from Guyton 56.